Hello there guys, welcome to another of my live videos, and on this video this afternoon I am going to be giving you an update on some more transfer news. Of course, keeping up to date with what players are linked with Manchester United, and these around now is it 8 or 9 days left of the January transfer window, and we do know that signings are desperately needed at Manchester United. So I am going to be giving you a bit more additional information regarding Jude Bellingham from Birmingham, because obviously he's been on Manchester United's agenda for the last week or 2 weeks or so. I'm also going to be giving you some more additional information regarding Moussa Dembele, and also going to give you some more news regarding Bruno Fernandes, and also I'm going to give you the latest news regarding Boubakary Soumare, who currently plays for Lille. So there is lots to currently talk about. So we will start with Jude Bellingham. So according to Sky Sports, which is a very reliable source, they have said that Manchester United have put around a £30 million bid in for Jude Bellingham. Reports were emerging out from Sky Sports on Monday, that's just gone, and they said we'd put around a £25 million bid in. So obviously, we've increased our offer by £5 million. I think maybe some United fans or a lot of United fans would feel as though he would be the wrong priority for Manchester United. Jude Bellingham, don't forget, he's only the age of 16. This is his first season in the senior squad with Birmingham. He made his debut at the age of 16 years and 38 days, did Jude Bellingham, and he made his senior debut back in August 2019. But I've got to be honest, I think he's been a revelation this season in the Championship for Birmingham. I think he's made around 25 appearances in total. The vast majority of them games he has actually started. I think he started around 18 as Jude Bellingham. I think Birmingham are hopeful that they can get him a professional contract in the summer, because obviously, he's 17 in the summer. So do you think he would be the right calibre player for Manchester United, Jude Bellingham? I think there's been a few other clubs that have been in for him. Jude Bellingham has also given his overarching view on all of this speculation. He's aware of this speculation, but I think he's actually reluctant to leave Birmingham at this present time. He's reluctant to leave Birmingham. But actually, some players who come from the Championship, to the Premier League, tend to do well. Prime example, we got Daniel James last summer from Swansea for around £15 million, and he's been a revelation so far this season for Man United. I know he hasn't been so good in the last month or so, but prior to that, he has done really well. And I think, £30 million is a cheaper solution. Jude Bellingham is a box-to-box midfielder, because Man United, of course, are in search for two midfielders. Obviously, we want an attacking midfielder, and we also want a holding midfielder, definitely, because we do now look very exposed in that midfield anywhere, following the injuries to Paul Pogba and Scott McTominay. Because I think they're both out until the end of this month, or is it early February? But yeah, so I don't really know much about this Jude Bellingham. Of course, Solskjaer did reveal, though, that he still wants to continue the policy of recruiting young players to Manchester United like he did do last summer. And as it stands at this present time at the moment, we have got a lot of young players in the squad, that are developing and trying to improve. So that's the latest news regarding Jude Bellingham. I read the Birmingham Mail, was it a couple of days ago, and it says, that if they even were determined to let him go Birmingham, this is from their perspective, they'd want to keep him on loan as part of the deal. So this is what they have confirmed. But a lot of United fans do feel as though that it would be the wrong priority. He's only 16 years of age. Maybe at this moment in time wouldn't it be so good in the Premier League. Maybe if he, as he develops more, then maybe he would be good enough for the Premier League. So that's the latest news regarding Jude Bellingham. So we'll give you now the latest news regarding Moussa Dembele. So reports have emerged out saying that Man United have scouted Moussa Dembele from Lyon. Moussa Dembele has given his overarching view on all of this, and he insists that he's going nowhere. He remains happy with Lyon. He's currently into his second season with Lyon. I think he's in scintillating form this season. He has scored 13 goals in 28 games this season for Lyon. And this is only his current second season with Lyon, like I mentioned. you know, and I think he's replicating this season what he did in his debut season with Lyon. I still believe he's got around 3 years left on his current contract. I think reports were emerging out yesterday saying that Man United put around the 42 or was it a £43 million bidding for him. Also, Chelsea have attracted their interest in the player. Lyon did pay around £20 million for him from Celtic in the summer of 2018. He enjoyed a good couple of years in Celtic. Before he was at Celtic, he was at Fulham. He began his senior career with Fulham, and I think quite a few teams were in for him when he was, currently with Fulham and that. But, the beneficial thing about recommending Moussa Dembele in that he's already played in the Premier League with Fulham, and he's an out-and-out number 9. And of course, Man United are in search now for a striker. Moussa Dembele is around 23 years of age, so still very, very young. But, obviously, reflects on the injury to Marcus Rashford. This is the explanation why we're in search for a striker. I maybe still felt as though we needed a striker anywhere. But, Rashford has sustained a double fracture in his back. And it's being revealed that he could be out, well, he will be out for at least 6 weeks. Maybe, I think he even could be out for a couple of months, Solskjaer has confirmed. But he said he'll be out for some time. He said Rashford needs time to recover. Obviously, like I said, Ian Wright's give his overarching view on the injury to Marcus Rashford. And, he actually, said some of the blame stems from Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Because obviously a lot of our fans are saying, Solskjaer shouldn't have brought Rashford on in the game against Wolves. But yeah, this is a severe injury that Marcus Rashford's got. So Ian Wright has basically said, Solskjaer's put himself before Marcus Rashford, and Solskjaer has reacted to this. But Solskjaer confirmed that Rashford's injury is totally comparison to the one that he had early on in the season. I think he also had an injury towards the back end of last season. But Rashford is definitely still a long-term solution for Man United. He's had some bad spells as a Man United player, but I think analysing his performances for the vast majority of this season, he's done really, really well. 19 goals in all competitions this season for Rashford. 63 senior goals overall since he broke into the senior squad back in 2016, and he's only the age of 22. But like I said, a lot of aspects of Rashford's game have definitely improved. So Solskjaer came out after the Liverpool game, after the 2-0 defeat, and he basically said now that the club will more than likely delve into this current transfer market for short-term deals. So maybe, he wants to get some loans. But yeah, like I said, there has been quite a few strikers on our current agenda. It was a shame that we didn't get Erling Haaland in, because don't forget, before the January transfer window opened, Erling Haaland was our number 1 priority target. He was a revelation during his time with Red Bull Salzburg. I think also the beneficial thing about would have been to recommend him in is that he played under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's guidance, because Solskjaer was keen on reuniting with the player. Because Solskjaer was the manager, the man who gave him his debut at just the age of 16. But obviously Erling Haaland's now at Borussia Dortmund, so we can't get him. But it would have been a cheaper solution than the likes of Moussa Dembele and all, the vast majority of the other players there we've been linked with. So it was a shame that we didn't get him on the board. I want to give you some news regarding Boubakary Soumare, who currently plays for Lille. Now, we haven't only scouted Moussa Dembele, we've also scouted Boubakary Soumare. Now, there's been quite a few clubs that have been in for Boubakary Soumare. He's a box-to-box midfielder. Reports revealed out last week, like I actually updated you, or was it a couple of weeks ago? And it did say, it's more than likely he's going to be leaving Lille. Reportedly, he will decide to either sign for Manchester United or Chelsea. Reportedly, he's going to make this decision before the end of this month. But I don't know if Man United, of course, are going to get him in. I think he's valued at around £40 million. He is only at the age of 20. He has held negotiations with Man United and Chelsea, but now reportedly a few other teams have attracted their interest in him. Reportedly, Tottenham have launched a bidding for Boubakary Soumare. Also, Liverpool have attracted their interest in the player. I think Real Madrid have showed their interest, but I think he probably will leave Lille. But he has been a revelation for Lille. So far to this point, he's spent the entirety of his career in France, because before he was at Lille, he was at PSG. And he actually began his career with PSG. But yeah, very, very good player. Operates well in that box-to-box role. His composure is good. His passing accuracy is very, very good. So do you think he would be the right calibre player for Manchester United? Obviously, you know the news, don't you, regarding Bruno Fernandes. I updated you this morning on my current video I did. He says Man United are expected to complete the signing of Bruno Fernandes by the end of this week. Because Man United and Sporting Lisbon are close to coming to an agreement on a fee. This is what it said basically, and I did say, didn't I, the fee has been the stumbling block of Bruno Fernandes, proposed move to Manchester United. But reportedly now we have had breakthrough in negotiations. We've been locked in negotiations with Sporting Lisbon since like the other week, since the Sporting Lisbon president and Bruno Fernandes' agent had come to London to meet up and that with Ed Woodward. Negotiations have been going on since then. Obviously, we know at one point they had stalled. Because obviously, Sporting has been revealed over the last weekend that they wanted around 80 million euros. Man United were determined to pay that. It says at the first we was only willing to pay around 42 or 43 million pounds up front, with around 25 million in add-ons, and the vast majority or all of these add-ons would only be activated if we won the Premier League, the Champions League, or Bruno Fernandes finished in the top 3 of the Ballon d'Or. But obviously, that's unlikely to happen. So Sporting Lisbon obviously, weren't happy with the structure of the offer. So they turned our first bid down. But now, reportedly, we've increased our offer for Bruno Fernandes. It's still short of what they want, of their valuation. But reportedly now, we are willing to offer around 46 or 47 million pounds up front, with around 7 or 8 million pounds in add-ons. So I think the deal is worth around 55 million pounds. But I did say, didn't I, in my recent video, whatever Sporting Lisbon want for Bruno Fernandes, Man United should be just determined to pay it, because I think he's worth it. I think he'll be a great addition to the squad. And plus, take into account anywhere we are known for overpaying for players. Prime example, 80 million for Harry Maguire, 50 million pounds for Fred, 89 million pounds for Paul Pogba, and 40 million pounds for Nemanja Matic. So yeah, we are known for overpaying for players. So I think we should just pay, like I said, what Sporting Lisbon are demanding. But Bruno Fernandes has made it clear he wants to leave Sporting Lisbon because he's notified Sporting Lisbon about this, and his preference is a move to Manchester United. So his actual preference now is totally comparison to his preference last summer, because I think his preference last summer was a move to Tottenham. Tottenham, I think, put around a £45 million bid in for him last summer. Don't forget, City were in for him. Also, too, Liverpool were in for him last summer. The main explanation why we didn't get Bruno Fernandes last summer, despite the fact we was relentlessly linked with him, is because Sporting Lisbon valued him at £70 million, and we was only determined to pay around £50 million. But he is our number one priority target, and we are seeing him as an adequate replacement for Paul Pogba. It's allegedly come out and said that, the transfer's being delayed, due to George Mendes, basically. But I think, George Mendes has been working on getting Bruno Fernandes' transfer to Manchester United completed. Don't forget, he was in London last week. He was also in the director's box, spectating the Man United and Wolves game. So he's been working on that. But yeah, a lot of Portuguese Portuguese sources have confirmed that Bruno Fernandes has already agreed the personal terms with Man United, and he's set to earn around £120,000 a week. So he's obviously going to get an increase in his wages. He's going to get an increase in his wages and all that. So this is what it said. And and Bruno Fernandes did play in Sporting Lisbon's game yesterday against Braga. Bruno Fernandes got an assist in the game, but Sporting Lisbon had lost by 2-1. Bruno Fernandes didn't wave goodbye to the fans, so didn't even give them a good farewell, because I think that I'm very adamant that that game against Braga was Bruno Fernandes' last appearance for Sporting Lisbon. I think he also shoved the camera out of the way. This is also what else Bruno Fernandes did. And and I think he also had a dispute with a police man, if I'm right. That's what our recent reports have said. So yeah, I think Bruno Fernandes is only the signing we're going to make in this January transfer window. And I said I would have been delighted if we could have made at least 2 signings in this January transfer window, because I did say our recruitment's definitely got to improve, because our recruitment has been very poor for, at least the last 4 or 5 years. And you understand, Gary Neville's perspective, because Gary Neville came out and, he's a respectable pundit, also a former Man United player, and he came out and said basically Ed Woodward needs to go because he doesn't know how to run the football club. He criticised Ed Woodward, reflecting on our poor recruitment in the last 4 or 5 years. Solskjaer would give his he reacted to what Gary Neville had come out and said, and he basically said it's not the right time for us to discuss our recruitment policy, basically. So this is what Solskjaer had said. This is what his reaction was. But and the only element of concern, revert back to what I said about Bruno Fernandes. The only element of concern I have got about him is that he hasn't played in the Premier League as yet. But I do now believe I've analysed his performances in Portugal and that he would be good enough for the Premier League. I think he'd have the minerals to succeed. I think if he comes to the Premier League, he can definitely replicate what he's done in Portugal with Sporting Lisbon. He got his contract extended last year until 2023. And obviously when he was younger, he spent the entirety of his career in Italy. So yeah, he's going to be coming in his Bruno Fernandes. It's just my phone that's frustrating me. He's going to be coming in his Bruno Fernandes, definitely. But he will dramatically improve, as like I say, because he's a player that can score goals. He can provide goals from that midfield. He can also create chances. But yeah, he's definitely the right calibre player for the football club. But we don't only need to see more incomings at the club. I think we also need to see more outgoings. But I think we'll be only determined to let more players go this year is if, signings can't be guaranteed. Obviously, Young left for Inter Milan. He's the first player to leave Man United in 2020. So I expect more players to leave this year. I'm hopeful that we can get rid of Phil Jones because, he's one of the problematic players at the football club and he's been a long servant here. I hope we can get rid of Marcus Rojo. I hope we can get rid of Nemanja Matic because he's too inconsistent and he's too slow. I hope the club can get rid of Jesse Lingard because he's been here for several years as Jesse Lingard. And I said, reflecting on his status at the football club and reflecting on the number of years he's been here, he should be putting much more better performances out, but he has been dropped recently as Jesse Lingard, so we need to get rid of him. I think the club also need to consider loaning Chon out, because I don't think Chon is at that level as yet. So some people are saying we need to get rid of Luke Shaw, because Luke Shaw is very injury prone. Plus now he isn't our first choice left back, since Brandon Williams has come onto the horizon. We see Brandon Williams as our first choice left back. But Brandon Williams is a much better solution than Luke Shaw from my own perception. He's only still very, very young. But there again, Luke Shaw's still quite young. But yeah, more players do need to leave the football club without a shadow of a doubt. But, like I've said on my recent videos, I think, we need to see a variety of changes at the football club. The main explanation why I think we need to see a variety of changes at the football club is, so we can elevate forward and get us back, to where we want to be. Because we're not in that commanding position as we should be in, reflecting on the size and the potential of the club. Also reflecting on the amount of money that's been invested into the football club over the years. I think we've spent nearly £1 billion on recruiting new players in since the Alex Ferguson era. That's how much Man United have spent, basically. And, not only that, we've also got players on big contracts at the club. You've got Rashford on, nearly 300 grand a week, Martial on 200 odd grand a week, Maguire on 200 odd grand a week, Lingard on 100 grand a week, Pogba on 290 grand a week. You've got De Gea on 375 grand a week, the highest paid at the club and the highest paid goalkeeper in the world. And I think, our wage structure is balmy. I think we're like the second club that's got, the most... we are the second club that's got like the second highest paid players, basically. So it is absolute, ridiculous in that. But there's a lot of explanations, why we've been a toxic football club for the last 6 or 7 years, because I think we've made a lot of mistakes. One mistake we did make was giving Ole Gunnar Solskjaer the job on a permanent basis. That was one mistake the club did make. I think over the years we've got rid of some players that we shouldn't have got rid of who did all right for Man United. I think, we've also selected the wrong managers at the wrong times. Ferguson made one mistake by recommending David Moyes in. The main explanation why Ferguson recommended David Moyes in, because they were both Scottish. And I think that was a mistake, but it was the only mistake that Alex Ferguson did make in that. So we have made a lot of mistakes in the last 6 or 7 years, but I think, who needs to leave this football club? I haven't only got element of concerns about what's going on the pitch. I've also got element of concerns regarding the club in general. So I think we need to get rid of our board, because they've been a liability for several years. I don't think we're going to get rid of our current board, but we need to get rid of our current board. I think we also need to get rid of the Glazers, also to Ed Woodward, because a lot of United fans have been protesting the Glazers and Ed Woodward. I think we also need to get rid of our coaching staff, and we also need a change of management. But obviously, Man United are not going to sack Ole Gunnar Solskjaer at this present time, because like it's been confirmed, we are determined to back him in this January window. We're also determined to back him in the summer, because we're going to basically see who else he can recommend into the football club. We're going to see who else he can recommend to the football club, basically. I was reading reports the other day, and it did actually say, even if Manchester United don't get top 4 this season, this is what it said: if we don't get top 4 this season, we have assured that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's job is still safe. But, we've been inconsistent for the vast majority of this season, and some of the blame does stem from Solskjaer, but everybody else, is accountable. But, we've still got a few ambitions, and we've got to get that top 4 this season, so in that aspect we can get Champions League football secured. We want to get some silverware on the board, because Solskjaer not too long ago spoken about the importance of us getting silverware on the board, because we've only won three trophies since the Ferguson era. Didn't win out under Moyes, won the FA Cup under Van Gaal, and won the Europa League and the League Cup in Jose Mourinho's first season. So we've got to get back to winning silverware in that. And, obviously, the Europa League, there's a chance we could win that. Obviously, that's another route to Champions League football. And it would be very, very good if we could win the FA Cup. Because we haven't won that since 2015. We've won the FA Cup in total, 12 or 13 times. I think it's 12 times we've won it. We won FA Cup behind Arsenal, basically. But I said that I also took the Carabao Cup into account, didn't I? But it's looking extremely unlikely now that we're going to win the Carabao Cup, because obviously, we're 3-1 down against Man City from the first leg, basically. So, but like I said, for us to be future title contenders and for us to be back where we want to be, we've got to recruit the right calibre players to Manchester United, basically. And this is what Man United do need to do, because I don't see us mounting any kind of title challenge up for several years. I don't see it happening. We've already gone now 7 years without winning the Premier League. The last time we won the Premier League was back in 2013 in Alex Ferguson's last season. So we haven't won it since then. But we are still one of the biggest clubs in the world. We are the most successful team in England historically, reflecting on the amount of titles we've won, because we've won 20 titles all in all and 13 Premier League titles. So we'll just see how we do in the next couple of windows. But I just don't see Solskjaer ever invoking Ferguson's legacy at Manchester United. And I think regardless of who our manager is, we'll never be the team that we was under Alex Ferguson, because we was fantastic under Ferguson. Obviously, Ferguson didn't settle in straight away. Alex Ferguson didn't win out in his first 4 years at the football club when we recommended him in from Aberdeen back in 1984. He didn't win nothing, Alex Ferguson, but then look what he went and accomplished after 4 years of not winning anything. And, he controlled the transfer policies, he controlled the contracts and that, developed a lot of young players. But he endured 26, 27 years at Man United. And I think Solskjaer does replicate Ferguson in that aspect, because he still wants to continue the policy of recruiting young players in. But I just don't think we'll ever be the team that was under Ferguson. And like I said with Solskjaer, I've admired him, because there's some aspects of me, that do credit him. He's got a lot of faith in his young upcoming players, because the young players have been given their chances this season. He's also, in some games, he's tactically got it right, but I think in the vast majority of the games this season, he's been tactically naive, so that's an element of concern. I think I credit him for what he did in that 3-month period when he was the interim manager, because he did really, really well then, did Solskjaer. And obviously my perceptions then were different regarding him, but he did really, really well as an interim player. And I thought he was a great long-serving player for the football club, because he endured 11 years at Man United. He flourished under Alex Ferguson's guidance. But like I said, he's got that proven pedigree as a player, but I think as a manager, he's just totally comparison. He isn't good enough, to succeed as a manager, and I hate to say that, because I want his managerial tenure to work out at Man United, but it just isn't going to happen. And, I think he's been given long enough. He's been here now over the year. He's got many expectations to exceed in his second year. He's been here net permanent manager for around 10 months now. He's still got around 2.5 years left on his deal. But I'm very, very sceptical, that he'll see the remainder of his 2.5 year deal out at Manchester United. I probably believe he will be gone at the end of the season, to be quite honest with you. And I think it's very, very likely that the club will recommend Mauricio Pochettino in to replace Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. I've given you the news regarding Pochettino recently, and obviously, Pochettino has begun negotiations with Manchester United over replacing Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. If we do recommend Pochettino in, it's more imminent. It will be at the end of the season rather than this present time. But we recommend Pochettino in. He will be our 5th permanent manager since the Alex Ferguson era. But I think another mistake the club made, I forgot to mention earlier on, we should have recommended Pochettino in after the sacking of Jose Mourinho in December 2018. But I think we've been long admirers of him, and I think Pochettino is interested in taking the Man United job. There's a few things I think he's demanded if he's to take over the mantle at the club, and I think he said he wants to take full control of the transfers. He doesn't want Ed Woodward as the director of football. But I think Pochettino is totally comparison to Solskjaer, and I think is a much better manager than him. He's well Premier League proven. I think he enjoyed a good 5.5 years with Tottenham. Also enjoyed a good short tenure with Southampton. My only element of concern about Pochettino is that he hasn't won out in terms of silverware, but he has indicated out his next managerial job anywhere will either be in England or Spain. This is what he said. So he could remain in England or he could go to Spain. He was recently linked with a managerial role at Barcelona because Barcelona ended Ernesto Valverde's tenure. Bayern Munich have also been in for Pochettino. Real Madrid have also been long admirers of him. So yeah, and it cost us basically next to nothing in a football. It wouldn't cost us. It cost us next to nothing to sack Solskjaer. It's been revealed that it only cost us around £5 million to get rid of him. So yeah. And Man United take on Burnley tonight. I'm very, very hopeful that we can win this game because we've got to get back to winning ways against Burnley. We've got to see a total comparison performance to what we saw against Liverpool on Sunday. I think that Liverpool game was our 7th defeat this season. I've got some news, by the way, regarding Victor Lindelof. He's currently out with illness. He left training early, was it yesterday? So I don't think he's going to be playing in this game. So now that means Bay could be in contention to play alongside Maguire because Bay is now back from his knee injury that he did have because he was out with a knee injury since pre-season. But Bay is injury prone and obviously he's been playing for the under-23s quite recently. Also, Tufosa Mensah's back, which is good. Diego Dalot's back, which is good. Obviously, McTominay and Pogba is still out. Rashford's now out. I think Rojo and Tuanzebe are still out with injury. Luke Shaw's just come back. But I'm confident we can beat Burnley tonight. By the way, Solskjaer's come out and he's turned to a sports physiologist to obviously, fix Man United's poor run of form, especially against the smaller teams, because we haven't really been good against small teams this season, but against elite opposition, it's been mainly totally comparison because we've had some good results this season against elite opposition. But yeah, I think we should beat Burnley. Burnley, beat us back in 2009 in the first ever meeting when they came to the Premier League era. Obviously, we beat them early on the season by 2-0, so it should be a Man United win. And I do presume Solskjaer's going to make changes from the 2-0 defeat to Liverpool, definitely. But I think he needs to start Greenwood tonight due to Rashford's absentee. Put Bay at the back now. Start Juan Mata, put Brandon Williams at left back. Luke Shaw for me needs to be dropped. So, be interesting to see what he goes with tonight. So anyway, guys, drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribing as always, and take care. God bless. See you all again very, very soon.